Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us, and we have got a busy week planned and a busy guy with us today. The Simmons Bank Championship getting underway with the caddy shootout tonight, and then the golf tournament all week. Of course, we got the Razorbacks, we got football, and Frank Cuervo, the Director of Athletics at the University of Little Rock, joining us tonight. And you understand about busy times because I got to say, you've been very busy these last couple months.
We've had a really good month in particular. I'll tell you, from the end of September till today, we rolled out kind of the precursor to what will ultimately be a capital campaign for athletics. Big deal. We moved conferences. We announced that. And of course, that was about 14 months in coming, so it didn't all happen overnight. But certainly the big announcement, the seminal moment did. And then we had an incredible event out here, actually, on back-to-back nights at the Stevens Center. We had our annual spectacular event honoring one of your colleagues, Ray Tucker, who's been in sports media here for nearly 40 years. Had a great night, raised a lot of money to support athletic scholarships. And then we tipped off the basketball season with a really fun event against Pine Bluff on both the men's and women's basketball side. Had over 3,000 people here at the Stevens Center. So it's been a busy month and a busy 18 months for me since I've been here, but we love it. It's great.
So what led to changing conferences?
It's a variety of things, right? Like most major decisions, it's never just one thing. I think one is the opportunity with the United Athletic Conference and the United Athletic Consortium. This is very much a situation of us running to something, not running away from something else. When you look at the only constant in college athletics right now is change. The ground underneath our feet is constantly moving. And so I think that requires that we take a look at different ways of doing business and different ways of going about our operations. And Jeff Bacon and the commissioner of the UAC really put forth what I think is an incredibly innovative model, one that I would be shocked if it didn't take hold and wind up popping up elsewhere throughout the space. So certainly the opportunity was one. Then the reasons this is so good for us is that there's geography, right? A pretty basic fundamental piece. We go from being on the southwest fringe of the geography in the OVC to right there in the middle, equidistant from the eastern and western flank. So not only gives us a chance for easier travel, but to give our fans a chance to come and see us on the road as well. And then you look at the competition, right? The peer group that we're in. We certainly take a step up. We've got 3 schools down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in Abilene Christian, Tarleton, and UT Arlington, which is a name that certainly rings a bell from our days in the Sun Belt Conference. We've got that team up the road that wears purple, about 35 miles north of us. It's great when you can take your natural rival and turn it into a conference rival. And then other great brands like Eastern Kentucky and Austin Peay. Emerging brands like West Georgia and North Alabama. Really a great peer group of folks that view athletics in a similar way. We're like-minded, and I think the idea of the rising tide lifts all boats, that very much applies here. I think we're going to benefit one another in a great way.
How important is it to you? What do you believe to have a rival be in your conference? You had that with A-State for years,
Sure.
Then lost it. How important is it to have a rival playing in your conference?
Well, I think it certainly adds something to the mix, right? I'm a Florida grad, right? I went to school at the University of Florida, and our 2 chief rivals were Georgia, very much an SEC member, and Florida State, not a member of the SEC. So you could certainly have great rivalries, intensity, regardless of the situation. But I think when you combine the fact that they are our natural rivals and they're right up the road, right? The 35 miles up north on I-40. I think there's a chance to really stimulate some interest and bring some additional sizzle to that rivalry. So we're looking forward to doing it.
As soon as I heard this news, I was asked, and I'm sure you've been asked a million times, well, are they playing football now? Are they going to be a football playing member?
If that's a question, I'll answer it directly. No, we have no plans to add football at this time. You never say never, but not at this time. And for a couple of reasons. One, I think the idea of looking to add to our portfolio at a time where there's such incredible change would be challenging, right? That there are going to be a lot of things that change moving forward. just here in the next couple of years. And so I think getting a bead on what our new normal looks like is important before we contemplate any significant changes. And then football at the highest level, especially, you got to do that right. You don't want to do that 1 foot in, because it can become an albatross, right? A weight around your neck. So, if we were going to push off and look at the football question more seriously, we'd want to make sure that all our ducks are in a row. And right now we have some other priorities to make our current group of sports stronger and more competitive, that we really want to focus our efforts in that direction.
Yeah, it's a crazy time right now in college football. And you mentioned it, you're a Florida guy. Florida just joined several other major programs by letting go of their head coach and searching for a new one. I want to ask you, because you've been around, what's it like right now for a coaching search? Pull back the camera. What are these ADs going through right now before the season's even over, while they're out there looking for a coach?
There's a couple of things to unpack there. One, the idea of making a change in mid-season, it's a challenging one, because how do you, what message does that send to the young men, or young women for that matter, who are a part of that program, about the rest of the season? Hey, you've still got, in some cases these changes are happening earlier and earlier, that in week 3 and week 4, where you still got 2/3 of the season to go. That's a lot of ball to play in the sport of football or other sports. So, I think that's challenging, and each program has their reasons for doing it a certain way. And I respect that. Not being on the inside, I can't speak to all of those. But I think in terms of conducting searches, the questions that you'll get from coaches are a lot different than they used to be. It used to be, hey, what type of facility do you have? And, how do we outfit our program, and how do we travel, and what sort of recruiting support do you provide? All still very fair questions. But the number one question of any coach worth his salt or her salt is going to come back to what are you investing in your student athletes, in the form of scholarship support, the traditional scholarship, terms of revenue share dollars, that $20.5 million cap, which I'll share with you. We are nowhere near butting our head up against at Little Rock. We've made significant investments there, but nowhere near that high end mark. And then NIL dollars, and that can mean one of a number of different things, whether it's funneling it through the university and us actually helping young men and women set up those sort of opportunities, or things that are 100% independent, more brand driven in the marketplace. So that's going to be the number one question that you get from coaches, because their ability to bring in student athletes, doesn't matter the sport, whether you're playing field hockey or football, basketball or baseball, the ability to bring student athletes in is going to determine their viability as a program.
I know you're a baseball guy. You love baseball, and the commitment that Little Rock is showing to baseball is pretty spectacular. The plans for the future are awesome, and Coach Curry. I saw you guys signed him to a contract extension. Tell me about your love. First of all, your love for baseball. Where that all came from?
Well, that was the sport I started playing as a kid. I wasn't a talented athlete, but I worked hard, and I think that was what allowed me to, achieve any degree of success that I might have. And so, I was a grinder, right? I wasn't the most talented kid, but I had the opportunity to walk on at the University of Florida, which was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. I grew up in Gainesville. So I was a lifelong resident, and really grew up on campus there, going to baseball camp in the summers and going to games in the spring. So I certainly had opportunities where I could have played a lot more and been more of a factor on the field. But that was kind of the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. And so don't get me wrong, I love all of our sports equally, right? I love watching a soccer match just as much as a baseball game, just as much as a basketball game. But certainly from a personal interest standpoint, when I'm getting off a plane and I'm getting to a television late last night to see what was happening with the Blue Jays and the Mariners in Game 7, and with an exciting World Series coming up. I love the College World Series, Omaha. And I'm not sure there's a better event, and that includes the basketball Final Four and college football playoff championship games. Baseball, all ducks are equal. Some are just a little more equal than others. So baseball probably holds a slightly closer place to my heart.
It's like you don't have a favorite child. You love them all, right?
Exactly, I do. Hey, I get just as excited. We're hopefully here about to win a soccer OVC championship in the next couple of days. I get just as excited about that as I did when we were beating LSU in the NCAA regional last May. But certainly from a personal interest, yeah, there's a tie there to that sport for sure.
Well, please share. We're going to take a look at these. What are the plans for Little Rock for baseball in the new stadium?
Well, I'm really excited about this project. We rolled out the plan for our capital campaign effort, and the facility component is just one of them, right? That certainly student athlete investment, and then overall program excellence. Those items are just as important, if not more so, than what we're talking about with the facility. But I certainly understand why this gets the attention, right? It's kind of the glitz and glam of the conversation. But before I go too far into that, something you brought up briefly a moment ago. I'm equally, if not more excited about the fact that we were able to extend Coach Curry's contract to make sure that he's here for a good long time. Chris does as good a job as anyone I've ever seen at running his program. Not only what they do on the field, and certainly folks can see that, right? But the things that they don't see off the field in terms of how they put their planning together, and how they administer and visit with these young men, and really develop champions on and off the field. He's impressive in that, right? So I'm excited to be able to keep him. Back to the facility component, though, what we're looking at is a piece of land that the university has held for quite some time, down at the corner of University and Asher Avenues, really just south of where main campus is. And the idea here is sure, it's baseball focused, right? You're talking about building a 2,500 seat baseball stadium and a training facility adjacent to it. So there's definitely a baseball component. But I think what I get equally excited about is the idea of developing the other land around it to create an entertainment district, kind of as a placeholder. I've used the term TED, Trojan Entertainment District, where you'll have a variety of things that are designed to bring people to the area, whether it's restaurants and retail shopping, and maybe even a healthcare component, things that bring people to the area, that it makes that area come alive, right? Becomes vibrant. And when you turn the lights on, right, you bring light to a place, generally good things happen. And so the baseball stadium, certainly for the Trojans, and we'll play whatever we play, 35 home games or so a year, but then the ability to go out and recruit to high-end travel baseball events that are bringing young men, and even in softball potentially young women to that area. Being able to go out and recruit high-end high school events to play at that facility. All these things help serve as a magnet to bring people to Little Rock, and ultimately to that part of the city that hopefully brings a lot of benefit and brings a lot of distinction to the area. So certainly baseball is a significant component. There's no two ways around that. But hopefully there's benefit even for those who may have never been to a Trojan baseball game or care to go, that it helps bring some vibrancy and energy to the city.
When would you like to get this started?
Yesterday. Hey, look, the only thing that ever gets in the way of something good getting done is money, right? And so right now, we've developed the concept, and we've begun to have a conversation with our supporters about, hey, how can we partner to make a project like this happen? So, largely the timeline will be determined by the feedback we get, and of course, we're early in that process. So I don't want to give it the misnotion that hey, we're going to stick a shovel in the ground tomorrow. But I think the main idea there is that, hey, we've got a vision toward the future. We're actively having those conversations both on the donor side and the strategic relationship side, because it's going to take a big effort to fill all those retail spots, right, and to have restaurants and retail places and others occupy that space, and it works together, right? It's all all in unison. So hopefully we're at a process, or a stage rather, where over the next year or so we'll be able to define a clear timeline, and then be able to share that with our fans.
Frank, awesome conversation. Thank you so much for your time. I've already taken too much of your time today, but thank you, and good luck with everything that's going on.
Hey, thank you. It's always good to be with you, Wes. Congratulations on your new effort here.
Appreciate that. That's Frank Cuervo joining us, Director of Athletics at the Little Rock Trojans. All right, we're going to talk a little high school football now. it is time to take a look at our high school football team of the week. And let's bring in our next guest. Kevin Kelly, the head coach of the Sheridan Yellowjackets, joins us now. Sheridan, it is the More Sports Team of the Week after knocking off Catholic at War Memorial Stadium Friday night. Coach, congratulations. That was see, that's how popular you are right now. You got people reaching out from all over the country wanting to talk to you.
I just turned it off. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Hey, by the way I look at it, with your second conference win, unless something crazy happens, you guys should be going back into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that's a good feat for us. I think when I got here, they hadn't been since 2015, and so now that we're there, the second year in a row, that's a good step for us. And then almost winning last year was a nice feeling, but we need to win one this year. But now we're just looking forward, trying to every win now moves us up a spot in the seedings.
Let's go back to Friday night, and I think back to that Catholic game from last year, and it was a great game. Catholic, I guess, won it on the last play of the game. What did it mean for your guys to come back the following year and beat them at their home place and get a little revenge?
Man, number one, thanks for making us the game of the week. That's awesome. I mean, and I can't wait to tell my kids. Any positives we get is really, really good, because we've been in just a weird place. But, Catholic, I looked back at the history, and Sheridan's never beaten Catholic. I didn't realize that. And so that said, and then losing the way we did last year after what we thought was our best game. We played our best game last year against them. And losing in that last second, what a tribute to them as a well-coached team. They are very, very well coached. And that's going to be a measuring stick for us. Can we beat a well-coached team that's disciplined and does that? Their offensive and defensive line match up with our offensive line very well. So to be able to do what we were doing, we had like 550 yards offense and move the ball. And then the big thing for us was our defense. They got a quarterback that can run and throw. And I looked up, and it's 30-13 at halftime. And so when our offense struggled at the end of the first half, we went 3 straight possessions without scoring. Our defense held firm and kept that lead for us. That was huge going into the second half.
What have you done with your defense? Because I would think the mentality after giving up all the points to Benton, how do you get those guys still to believe in what you're doing and to play hard and do what they did against Catholic?
That is actually a task, and people don't realize that. As much as we're an emotional organism, just people in general, kids maybe even more so when it comes to that, because they had to listen to the rhetoric and the chatter about losing to Benton. And Benton I'll be honest with you, we're not even close to where they are yet as a program, and we want to be, but they outmatched us when we were out there. And physically, they just outmatched us in a lot of places, and that made it tough. But the hard part for the kids is, the seniors moving up as ninth graders, this is their third defense they've had to learn in their 4 years. And they never know when to buy in, or the next guy's going to be here and change it. That's a real thing. When we lost last year in the playoffs, a group of kids came to me and asked me, is like, where are you going next year? Because I was the third coach in 3 years. They just thought that's what happened. You packed it up and left. So to get them to buy in, to believe that I'm going to be here, is a big part of it. And it's one reason I'm wearing this shirt. I now wear a believe shirt every day. I'm a spiritual guy, but I'm trying to get them to believe in what we're telling them. And I keep thinking if we see that word, they will. But it's been difficult to get them to buy into it completely. But I think the more success they have, like anybody, the more that they're going to buy in. But we just, we're capable. Obviously, everybody's capable of being better than they've shown, and we are too. But I think their biggest problem isn't that they don't try hard. That's an easy part. The biggest problem is that they don't believe in themselves a lot of times. And that's what we've got to do a better job as a coaching staff.
So then how important was it to get that win Friday night?
It was huge. I mean, that was one of the biggest pivotal moments in my career for a team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I go back to PA, and when PA, the first state championship we won, they had never even been past the semifinals. And they'd only been there 2 times before I got there. And they just thought, wow, that's the epitome. That's the top. That's the apocalypse for us, is at the top of that, losing in the semifinal game. What a great year. And to win the semifinal game, not the championship game, to win the semifinal game was a big one. To beat a team like Catholic that's traditionally been very good. Look at their last 5 years in 6A. going to the semifinals, losing to PA a couple times, losing to Little Rock Christian. And then last year when we played them, they were 7-0 or whatever, or 6-0. And then they fought like a champion. And I made it a point to go, we've got to beat a team that knows how to come back. We were ahead of them. They came back, and their discipline and all that. And you've never beaten them. So if we can beat a team like that, not a team that Sheridan has traditionally beaten, that's a big stepping stone. That's going to make you believe. That's going to get you to know what we know, that you are better than what you think you are. And that's our whole problem. We know, our coaching staff knows that our team is better than they think they are. And it's usually the other way around. Usually the kids believe they're better than they are. And it's the other way around here. And like I say, a win like that, what it does, it makes, if we had a third of the team really believing that we could beat anybody on a given night, now probably over half the team does. So it probably doubled the number of belief. And what that does in the locker room, you know what they're saying. Some kids, when you go into playing Benton or you go into playing Marion, who's been traditionally good and beating the dog out of us, they're in there saying, I don't know if we can beat these guys. Coaches are telling us, let's go out and do our best, but I don't know if we can. When that chatter stops, the hesitation stops on the field. You're more sure of what your eyes are seeing that we train you to do. And without that hesitation, you're a better football team automatically on the football field.
Now is the goal with a home playoff game. You got Marion in front of you, El Dorado in front of you. You win those games or one of those games, you get a home playoff game.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. I mean, it's moving up the ladder. We've got our ultimate goal, but first we got to make the playoffs, which we almost assuredly did. And second, we got to move up a seed and win, and then get a home playoff game. And that's what we want to do. I cannot imagine this town and this stadium with a home playoff game. And it's just going to be great for the community. I mean, everybody knows high school football is the front door. It's the front porch of the school. I mean, it is, because of the attention it gets. Guys like you that are really showing guys working hard and give them the attention they deserve, because football's hard. But it is. Everybody knows who Greenwood is, right? Everybody knows who Fayetteville is. You know who Bentonville is, but I don't know about Bentonville's basketball team. They may be state champions too, but I know about Benton's. Look at Cabot back in the day. You're known by your football team. And that's the way it is. That's why the Razorback football team has 90,000 people watching, and the basketball team fills up with 18. And the basketball team's really good. People just come out more for football. So it's important for schools to be good at that. That doesn't lessen the importance of the other sports, but it does show that that's just how people know towns. And our town has a strong desire for that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've thought Sheridan, I've been here for over 20 years. I think baseball. They've had a great baseball program, and now that's what your task is trying to do, is change that.
Yeah, we've got 3 state championships in baseball, and our baseball program is really good. And some of our football players are our best baseball players, and that's great. But we need to imitate that. And I hate to say it, but because there's so many more kids on a football team, that means more people are going to come out and see that and raise it to another level.
Does it give you the hope, though, that look, if you can do it in baseball, you can do it in football? It's almost like, University of Arkansas. They always have a great baseball program. People say, well, if they can be great in baseball, great in basketball, why not football? It's the same for Sheridan.
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't used that yet, and I need to. That's fantastic. You're at the same school with the same people and the same kids. If you can run through baseball and win state championships, why can't you in football? I haven't thought of that, but I will institute that today. I'll guarantee it.
Glad I could help in some way.
Y'all, for sure you helped. When you've got the situation that we've got, where we're trying to teach the kids how to have the mentality to win constantly and have confidence in themselves, you have to come up with little things like that all the time. And I send out motivational messages to the whole team through the captains, and whether they're videos or little sayings or whatever. I mean, every little thing might be the button to push for somebody else to jump in the boat, the belief boat. And that's what we need. And I'm serious when I say this. That is another one. Why? I mean, that's an easy one. Half of you have won in baseball. You know what that is. You know we can. Why can't we do it in football too?
Coach, great stuff, man. Congratulations on Sheridan being the More Sports Team of the Week. I'm very happy for you guys and can't wait to see what you do the rest of the way against El Dorado, Marion, Sylvan Hills. It's going to be an exciting finish for you guys.
Hey, we're in a fantastic conference. I mean, when you look around and everybody's beating everybody, Marion beat Sylvan Hills, Sylvan Hills beat Benton, Benton beats everybody. It's a good conference, and we're proud to be a part of it. But we wouldn't mind if there were a few teams that were easier to beat on the schedule.
Yeah, I looked at it this morning. 3 teams tied for first, 3 teams tied for fourth, and it's going to be a wild last 3 weeks. Coach, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, I do too. I appreciate you having me.
Kevin Kelly, head coach of the Sheridan Yellowjackets, joining us on More Sports. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so that you can get the More Sports videos every single night. Coming up later this week, we're going to talk some more Razorback football. We got Hayden Henry joining us, Braylon Mitchell, Broderick Green's coming on the show this week. It's going to be a huge week for More Sports. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night. We'll be back here with More Sports.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.